And welcome to the lovely Sue Moorcroft, the Romaniacs Sparkle interviews. First of all, Sue, I'm just going to ask you to tell us about your major writing highlights so far.
I was in Waterstones and doing a signing, and this man had just been really horrible to me, so he was quite a lowlight. And I had my books on a table, and this lady came up, and as she was looking at the books, and I was trying to talk to her and give her a bookmark and stuff, and she suddenly pointed at all that malarkey and said, "There, do you write like her?" I said, "I'm her."
And
she said, "Oh well," and it turned out she'd been in hospital. She didn't look well. She was very thin. She'd been in hospital, something really serious, and she said she'd been reading that. Now she was out of hospital, she had to rest every afternoon, and she'd been reading it, and she said it's really helped me through. And she rang her friend and said, "You know that book I told you about? The lady who wrote it's here." And she passed her the phone, so I said hello to her as well. Her name was Sue. And then her husband came up and she explained it all, and he said, "Well, we better buy the rest then." And they did, except they didn't buy Want to Know a Secret because it had a hospital in it. And I went home feeling privileged.
Oh, that's lovely. And going back, what's been so far the toughest challenge in your writing life?
Oh my goodness. Well, there have been quite a lot because I have had a lot of rejections. For every success I have, there's a lot more rejections, probably 10 or 20. And that continues. Even though I've got an agent in a big agency, you can't expect if she sends it out to 100 people, they're all going to say, "Oh yes please," and there's going to be a bidding war. But I think the only time writing made me cry was when I was with my former agent, and I sent her a book, and she rang me up and she said, "I can't handle this. It's not good enough. There's not enough story, it's not interesting enough. You can do better than this." And I think that's the only time writing made me cry. But I learnt a lot.
And what's coming next with you?
Well, The Truth About Ava is a book. It's set at Christmas. Ava doesn't like Christmas, and her business is struggling, and she's being threatened with revenge porn by her boyfriend. And Sam's mum has cancer, and he's trying to give her a Christmas because she's always given him Christmas. And he decides he will buy his mum a bespoke hat. She's never had anything as frivolous. And somebody helped me create a brilliant viral marketing campaign, not to sell the book, it's within the book as part of the story, and I'm so impressed with it. If the book doesn't sell, I'll try and sell just the marketing campaign.
Thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We're welcoming our first agent interview today at the Romaniacs Sparkle Corner, Felicity Trew. And Felicity, can you first of all tell us what's the highlight of your agenting life so far?
Oh, that's easy, very easy, because it's right here. Brigid Coady, who won the Joan Hessian Award. She's an absolute star, and I'm such a privilege to have met her and to be working with her. It was a tough fight, but Brigid and I just clicked, and I think after our first meeting we discussed book 2, and I think by day 3 of having really spoken to her about the future, she'd started writing it. And for me, it was a really tough and wonderful experience to have found someone so talented and to be there and for us to go, you know, I see this vision. And she said, "I see this vision." And I said, "It's the same." And that was a wonderful, wonderful moment. And I'm just so proud of her, and I'm so happy to be working with her. And it makes me feel so privileged to do what I do. And she's an extraordinary writer and an extraordinary woman, and so you put those two things together, and I think that makes for the best career in the world.
Thank you. I hope she sees this.
Yeah.
She'll love this. So far, what's the toughest thing you've found about being an agent?
Toughest thing about being an agent might be a surprise to authors, but toughest thing is the waiting, and that moment where you've sent the submission to the publisher and you're waiting. And we're waiting with you. And it's that moment when you want to protect the client, you want to tell them that you want an answer now. Publishers are more and more busier than you can imagine, and we do our best to make sure that they read it and they see that email and they say, "Oh, Felicity sent me something, that's it, I need to read it," and we follow up and follow up and follow up. But it's that pain of waiting when our hearts are on the table with our clients. And all we want to do is to pick up that phone and go, great news, are you sitting down? And it's that moment that we wait for, it's that moment that we live for, and we're waiting with you, and that's the hardest.
That's lovely. And in the future, what are your hopes as an agent or an agency?
Well, I am very privileged in that I was made an agent in January at the Caroline Sheldon Literary Agency. So Caroline and I are working really closely together, and she's a fantastic legend in my opinion. And so I'm very honoured to be working with her. But I want to build up my list. I want to find extraordinary writers. I'm looking for a range of storytelling. Everybody asks me, what am I looking for? What am I looking for is a story I can't live without. And when I can't live without it, I can become an advocate and a passionate advocate. And I want to build up careers. I don't just want one-hit wonders. I want people that are going to grow old with me. And so I'm looking for fantastic storytelling. I'm looking for compelling characters, all these things you've heard before. But there's a reason why we keep hearing them. So I'm very actively building up my list. And I want to be nurturing talent.
Welcome, Brigid.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure to the Romaniacs Sparkle interview, and I want you to tell me first, if you would, about your major writing highlights so far.
My major writing highlight so far, it was winning the Joan Hessian Award this year for my very first book, No One Wants to Be Miss Havisham. It was an Oscar moment, it really was. When I dragged my parents and my sister along in case I never get that moment again. So that was, yeah, I still can't quite believe it happened.
Wonderful, congratulations
Thank
from
you.
all of us. And along the way, what's been the toughest thing you've come across in your writing life?
The toughest thing is keeping going. I joined the RNA in 2003. So this is, well, 12 years, and I'm an overnight success. So I think it's just carrying on going when it feels like you're just getting rejected and rejected and rejected. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. And I was going to leave the RNA in 2010, and I was like, this year I can't do it. And actually, that was the year that Katie Ford gave me her bursary,
Right.
and it's just made me realise that if you don't have faith in yourself, you've got to find people that do have faith in you, and they can keep you going. So that's the hardest thing, is just carrying on.
Brilliant. And we heard a little bit from your agent about what was happening next, but can you tell us what you're planning next?
What I'm planning next, I don't know what she said. How much am I allowed to say? I'm currently working on a new novel, but it's called Persuading Austen, and it is a remake of Persuasion, and hopefully should be going to publishers in the autumn.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.